In a faraway land, a hero is given a divine oracle. The mission God gave him is to marry the daughter of the demon lord and complete the Shinkon Quest. Our MC Harold comes face to face with a demon. He takes a leap and strikes the demon down in one go. Harold sighs in relief as no one was hurt. The villagers come close to him, but instead of thanking him, all of them start bargaining him with their request, making him more of a handyman than a hero, to be honest. But since our boy is pure-hearted, he smiles and accepts all of their requests anyways. He inherited the title of hero from his grandpa and was taught that he should never expect anything in return. A villager asks him if he was married recently. Harold gleefully says yes before getting cut off. "Is this going to affect your work?" the villagers asked him. Talk about lacking empathy. But Harold just smiles and says no. In fact, he'll actually work harder to improve for them. The hero always has to be perfect. Even if some people are douchy and take advantage of him, Harold never stops smiling and fulfilling their requests. Since this is an era of peace, what else could he do? There is no more grand adventure to defeat the evil, since his grandfather already did that. Despite the fact that Harold works like a dog all day trying to fulfill their request, some people still envy him because he's famous and apparently pays no taxes. It's finally nighttime, and after getting scoliosis from carrying the village for so long, there's someone at the door who greets him. It's his wife, Yona. Wow, just look at her. Our MC couldn't help but blush from seeing her. He gets worried because she stayed up late just to wait for him. But Yona says it's alright since she's his wife after all. Our MC, on the other hand, is still not used to having a wife, because the government was strict on who he could be with. Yona assures him and says she's still adjusting as well, and tells him to go inside the house, since she's prepared something for him, and it's a whole food feast. Our boy cries at the sight of it, because it's been years since someone cooked for him. Despite the fact that many women probably have a crush on him, it seems like the only thing he's ever touched was medical herbs, just by the amount of times he gets asked to collect some by the villagers. Yona shrugs it off and says that she just tried imitating humans. Yona stares at our boy for a few seconds. "Do you like it?" she asks. Harold gets flustered and yells a whole bunch of compliments to Yona's cooking. Yona blushes from this, but then our boy goes into overthinker mode and says to himself, what a hero should love the most shouldn't be family, but his citizens. So he wonders if God gave him this mission because he knew that he can't fall in love. But then he thinks again. This marriage isn't even a real one. In fact, it's a farce that started because of a certain discovery. The sacred book titled the Shinkon Quest. It's said that this book is sacred, the forbidden books of forbidden books, a book left by the gods. Inside, this book predicts the end of their world. But the book also has the way on how to prevent it. After overthinking for a good 5 minutes, Harold stands up and thanks Yona for the food, and tells her to go to sleep. But Yona teases him, pinching his cheeks since there was still rice on it. Yona brings over a new set of clothes for our boy, saying that she even washed these herself, so please use it. The MC gets flustered at the sight of his underwear, and thanks her. He thinks that, despite the fact this is a fake marriage, Yona is actually a good wife. Despite the fact Yona is a demon herself, she seems very human-like and adorable to him. He starts to daydream, thinking, what if they were a real newlywed couple, and not just a fake one? But he cuts himself off, saying that Yona deserves a better man, not a man that's as boring and dull as him, that they only got married because of the sacred book and have to fulfill the quests to prevent world destruction. Yona creeps up from behind. If it weren't for that, humans and demons would. Harold's line of thought suddenly gets cut off, as Yona hugs him from behind. Yona scolds Harold, saying that he shouldn't fall asleep while washing his clothes. Harold freaks out. A hero shouldn't give in to their temptation, he thought. Our boy was being a bit sus with that line. Yona asks him if that made him uncomfortable. Harold says no, but he asks if the book instructed her to do this. Yona assures him and says that it's just a normal show of affection between wife and husband. Our boy, being maidenless for all his life, was shocked. Even if this is normal between wife and husband, Harold starts stuttering and says that as a hero, he was told not to fall into temptation or something like that. And we finally see what tempts him so bad. Yona shots back at him and says, if they don't do this then the quest won't progress. Clock it. Yona. Our boy doesn't know where to look, so he stares at the floor and says, even if this is all an act, it feels like it's against the rules. Yona is confused why he called their marriage an act. Harold realized he was about to fumble the bag and had to fix the situation. So our boy apologizes and says that, since Yona is so kind, he feels overwhelmed by her kindness. Since he's not used to being treated like this at all. Yuna was surprised. Is being a hero difficult for you? She asked him. Harold gets embarrassed and apologizes, saying that they should leave it at that. But Yuna pats him on the head and comforts him. It's okay. Calm down. This isn't indulgent. This is a reward for my husband who works so hard every day. Yuna smiles at Harold. Harold felt like a child at that moment. He remembers when he was as a child. He became the successor of the hero title, all because of his father, who chose to run away from that responsibility. He was told to not seek rewards and give up all carnal desires. And yet, he wishes things could stay like this forever, as Yuna comforts him. I'm glad it's Yuna that I'm married to, Harold says to himself. But suddenly, a strange sound could be heard, and the book flies above them and says, First chapter, first mission of the Shinkon Quest. You must develop an emotional attachment to your spouse. They're surprised that the book can talk. Yuna thinks it's a bit invasive, but Harold is just glad the instructions are clear and easy to understand. Harold flips through the pages and sees a locked part. The last pages, where the deepest secrets are written, are locked. When he tries to open it, the book zaps Harold, making his fingers bleed a little. Yuna looks at Harold, annoyed at the book. Harold shrugs it off and says that since the book is dangerous, he'll put it away but will get it, for her, if she needs it. Yuna looks like she's focused on something else and suddenly licks his injured fingers and teases Harold. How sweet of you, she smiles with her tongue out. It seems like something has awakened inside of Yuna, because she seems like a different person from earlier. Yuna has a sinister smile on her face. Forget about the sacred book. We're just acting, right? She starts panting and comes closer to Harold and lifts his shirt. She starts breathing and comes closer to Harold and lifts his shirt. She starts breathing heavily while talking to the MC. We're not doing anything wrong. We're married after all. She starts kissing his palm. She says that Harold is a man, so even if it hurts a little, he can handle it, right? Slowly, her right arm is becoming more demon-like. Harold becomes flustered at the sight of Yuna. But Yuna just teases him, and just as she was about to make a move on him, the book comes back with a pissed expression and zaps her, saying that this is a serious violation, saying that the quest should be completed in order, so no rushing. Unfortunately, Harold curses at the book, saying that it's crazy. Yuna finally wakes up from the zap and yells. She apologizes to him for getting excited and acting inappropriately. But Harold says it's nothing and thinks that that crazy side of her was impressive. Since he wouldn't have the courage to make a move on her, Harold is stuttering, trying to defend her actions, and Yuna smiles and says, I'm happy. I'm glad that you're my husband. Harold is surprised and blushes. He agrees with her and says, I'm glad you're my wife. With conviction, they both promise to save the world together and fulfill the Shinkon Quest.